Sonic zipped through a shimmering portal, expecting to land in the heart of another high-tech metropolis. Instead, he crashed through thick canopies, tumbling into a bed of ferns and leaves. Dazed, Sonic stood up, brushing dirt and greenery from his iconic red shoes. He quickly realized that this wasn't any place he recognized. "Whoa, this isn't the city," Sonic muttered, taking in the vast stretch of towering trees and a cacophony of wildlife surrounding him. He could hear birds chirping, insects buzzing, and the distant roar of something unknown. "I've got a feeling this is going to be a wild ride." Tails, Knuckles, and Amy weren't with him this time, and his communicator had lost all signal. Sonic sighed, but he knew he had to keep moving to find out what brought him here, and more importantly, how to get back. After all, there was no challenge he couldn't outrun. As he dashed forward, the thick underbrush slowed him down. Unlike the smooth surfaces he was used to, the jungle was unpredictable. Roots, rocks, and vines constantly seemed to be in his way. It wasn't a place for speed, but Sonic wasn't just about speed. He had sharp instincts, and right now, those instincts told him something big was happening. Hours of running led Sonic to a clearing where he encountered a group of animals gathered around a large stone totem in the center of a village. They were a strange collection of creatures: monkeys, jaguars, toucans, and even a few turtles, all looking at him curiously. "Who's this guy?" a monkey asked, scratching his head. "Never seen anyone like him before," a jaguar remarked, narrowing its eyes. "I'm Sonic, the fastest thing alive," Sonic boasted with a grin. "And I'm guessing none of you have seen a blue hedgehog before." The animals remained cautious, but a wise old tortoise approached, nodding slowly. "Welcome to the jungle of ancients, traveler. You seem far from home." "I am," Sonic replied, crossing his arms. "But I've got to ask, what's with the jungle? And why does it feel like something big is going down here?" The tortoise looked grave. "Indeed, the jungle's balance has been disturbed. For centuries, our home has thrived in harmony, but recently, something dark has entered these lands. The Eternal Shadow, a malevolent force, seeks to control the heart of the jungle, an ancient power source that maintains the life of this world." Sonic's ears perked up. "Sounds like bad news. Where's this Eternal Shadow?" "Deep within the Temple of Roots, in the heart of the jungle. But no one has been able to enter it for generations," the tortoise explained. "The path is filled with traps, tests of wisdom, strength, and courage. Many have tried, but all have failed." Sonic smirked. "I'm no stranger to danger. If something's out there causing trouble, you can count me in to stop it." The animals looked at one another, unsure whether Sonic was their hero or just another fool rushing headfirst into danger. But the tortoise's wise gaze lingered on Sonic for a moment longer before nodding in approval. "The jungle will test you in ways you've never been tested before, young one," the tortoise warned. "Speed alone won't help you here." Sonic set off with renewed purpose, heading toward the Temple of Roots. Along the way, the jungle seemed to come alive, presenting obstacles at every turn. Thick vines swung out unexpectedly, roots popped up to trip him, and strange wildlife blocked his path. This wasn't about outrunning danger, it was about outthinking it. The first test came at a great river. The water was rapid and treacherous, and there was no clear way across. Sonic paused, trying to figure out how to use his speed to jump it, but there were no clear angles. Just as he began to feel frustrated, a pair of birds swooped down and began chirping at him. "You can't always rely on speed," one bird advised, perching on a nearby tree. "Sometimes you need to see the solution that isn't obvious," the other added. Sonic took a deep breath and watched as the birds pointed their beaks toward some vines hanging above the river. He smiled. It wasn't his usual method, but Sonic grabbed one of the vines and swung across the river with ease. As he continued his journey, Sonic began to realize that this jungle was teaching him something valuable. It wasn't enough to be fast. Here, he needed to be smart, patient, and adaptable. Each challenge pushed him to think beyond his natural instincts. At the next test, a thick fog enveloped the jungle floor, hiding dangerous pitfalls beneath it. Sonic knew he couldn't just run blindly through it. He slowed down and started to feel the ground with his hands, carefully navigating the treacherous terrain. After what felt like days, Sonic finally reached the Temple of Roots, an ancient vine-covered structure that seemed to pulse with the life force of the jungle itself. But before he could enter, a large shadow loomed over him. A massive, jaguar-like creature emerged from the temple's entrance, its eyes glowing with a mysterious power. "I am the guardian of the heart," the creature rumbled. "If you seek the power of the jungle, you must prove yourself worthy." Sonic wasn't intimidated. "I've been proving myself this whole way. What's one more test?" The guardian grinned, its sharp teeth gleaming in the dim light. "This test is different. It's not about your strength or speed, but about your heart. Can you resist the temptation of power?" With that, the guardian stepped aside, allowing Sonic to enter the temple. Inside, the heart of the jungle pulsed with an emerald glow, radiating immense energy. Sonic approached it slowly, feeling its pull. He could feel the raw power it offered. If he took it, he would be unstoppable, not just fast, but invincible. The thought crossed his mind. He could defeat Eggman once and for all, protect his friends, and never lose a race again. But then, he remembered the tortoise's warning. The jungle had its balance, and the heart was a part of that balance. If he took it for himself, he'd be disrupting that harmony, just like the eternal shadow intended. "No thanks," Sonic said, stepping back. "Power like that isn't worth losing who I am." As he turned to leave, the heart of the jungle began to glow even brighter. Sonic's decision had purified it, driving out the dark influence of the eternal shadow. The jungle's life force surged, and the oppressive darkness that had been hanging over the land began to lift. Outside the temple, the jungle came alive with color and vibrancy, the once threatening vines and roots now swaying gently in the breeze. The animals cheered as Sonic emerged, victorious but humbled. "You've done it," the tortoise said, approaching him with a slow smile. "You restored balance not by taking power, but by respecting it." Sonic nodded. "I couldn't have done it without learning what this place was trying to teach me. Sometimes, being the fastest isn't what matters most." The animals of the jungle celebrated, and for the first time in what felt like ages, there was peace. Sonic had proven that strength doesn't always come from power. It comes from understanding when not to use it. As a portal opened to take him back to his world, Sonic looked back at his new friends and the lush jungle he had helped save. He smiled, knowing that this adventure had taught him more than any race ever could. With a final wave, Sonic dashed back through the portal, leaving the jungle of ancients behind, but carrying its lessons with him forever.